What's up? I'm Debby Ryan, and you're watching Natalie Interviews.
Natalie Interviews.
Natalie Interviews. Natalie Interviews.
Natalie Interviews.
So, The Sweet Life on Deck, you guys just finished the 3rd season.
Yes, we did.
What was it like filming the show?
It was so much fun. I mean, whenever you put like 5 teenagers, and Brenda's like in her 20, she's 23, so we're all kind of young. You put us all on a boat and on a set and kind of give us things. We're like, okay, now we're throwing a cake at Mosby, and now this person's falling in the hot tub. It's just always fun. I mean, there's no way to not have fun on a set like that. And when it comes time to work, we all work, but we don't let that take away the fun. So.
And you have a new movie coming out. What if?
Yeah. It's exciting. I actually filmed that like a year and a couple months ago, and so it's cool that it's now coming out. And when the director called me, he was like, hey, I had known him for a few years, and he was like, listen, there's this role, and it was initially like a 14-year-old boy, but we changed it for you, and what do you think of this role, and do you want to play it? And I read the script, and I was like, I'm obsessed with this story. And he was like, well, it's probably just going to go to like straight to DVD, just a couple Christian bookstores across the Midwest. I was like, that's fine. That's completely fine because I'm obsessed with the story, and I loved it. I loved the story. So at that moment, I was like, let's do it. Let's play this character. And I was gone from Sweet Life for I think a week to film it, and I fell in love with just the story, the crew, the cast. It was the most amazing situation.
And can you tell us a little bit about your character in the film?
Yeah, my character in the film is Kimberly, and she's kind of this sassy, she's a teenage girl. I don't want to say she's narcissistic, but she's definitely sassy. She's kind of rude to her dad, and she's very confused by everything that's been happening in her life. And so the more that she kind of grows and figures things out with her dad, the more that they kind of mend things over. And you get to see she's a little bit like her dad, but it's cool to play this supporting role that has her own little storyline.
And can you tell us a little bit about your music? What type of music do you mainly sing?
I sing, but singing isn't necessarily my first kind of goal. I love to write, and the more that I sing, the more that I realize how much that I love writing, producing. And so my brother and I have a home studio that we just created, and we're working with artists and co-writing songs, producing them. My brother engineers them, I co-produce, and then we kind of, just as it all comes together, we have this whole system of just really bringing a song to fruition. And it's cool to hear just 2.5 minutes of silence turn into a rhythm track, turn into acoustics, and then you put like a cello pad behind it, and all these really cool things. And we're like, hey, you know what? Let's put a filter on the drums so it's a little more mellow. And as you kind of write it and see it all change and come to fruition, it's more fulfilling than almost anything I've ever done, just kind of watching nothing turn into something so impactful and powerful. So I love producing, and I would love to continue doing that and working with artists and things like that.
So I was going to ask you if you could see yourself doing that in the future.
I would love to. Either manage or definitely have, a home studio and an indie label where my brother and I kind of produce, songwrite, and then we also market, and we have that whole thing going on.
And you were also doing your music blog where you're interviewing artists.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
I am, yeah. We've kind of taken a break from it as I'm kind of looking at different artists that we're interested in. And, as we're kind of, I think that it's going to be more, it's hard to not want to overlap my music blog with the studio that we're doing and just promote the artists we're working with. So, kind of to be fair, I'm making it only a written blog so far. It's, we'll see what happens with it.
Cool. And do you have any social networks you could tell us about before we go?
Yeah, I am Twitter. It's Twitter at the Debby Ryan. I'm also on Facebook. It's the Debby Ryan Official. I just got a Facebook, so it's facebook.com/the Debby Ryan Official. And check me out.
Thank you so much for talking with us.
Of course, it's nice to meet you.